So we're going to learn today how to use Google Classrooms to conduct virtual classes for our students. So Google Classrooms is built specifically for that situation in which you would want to conduct a class with students who are not all in one place, especially communicating with students all over the world. That was the prime purpose of Google Classrooms in the beginning, especially in educational fields in USA. Today we are going to look at how to use Google Classrooms to help us conduct classes in case the term is extended beyond certain dates that we expect, or in case we are not allowed to have 100% of students in the classroom. So let's look at how to get started. So uh, just go to Google and type Google Classroom. It should give you these options. Classroom.google.com is the ideal link that you will have to go to. If you remember it, you can just type it in here and it will redirect you to this link. So you have to obviously log in with your Gmail account. Now, Google Classroom is got special features for people who have what is called an enterprise email account. An enterprise email account is an email account which is connected to a certain organization. Now, for instance, RPD College has a website and a domain name that is property of RPD College, and the name is rpdbgm.edu.in. So we're going to use that as an example. GSS College also has the same thing. Google provides free of charge services to colleges and schools where they get these emails and custom emails and services connected to that for free. So now we are going to log into an email ID that I just created for the purpose of testing this out. So my name, and I'm not going to add, instead of adding Gmail here, I will add rpdbgm.edu.in. Now, if you are from GSS College, you will have to type gssbgm.edu.in. That's the only difference. That here is RPD and that will be GSS. Now, if you forget this, it's very simple to know if your what is your um, domain name. So let's say I say RPD College Belgaum in a search bar, and here I will find it rpdbgm.edu.in. The same thing can be done for GSS College, and you say gssbgm.edu.in. edu.in is a government owned domain name, so we have to register this with the government and then we get edu.in. That recognizes that this website is connected with an actual institution, one of the very important markers for authenticity. So here this is my name and this is my domain name of the college that I work for. So I just click next and I type in my password. This is just like logging into any other Gmail account, only instead of at Gmail account, we put our domain name, that is rpdbgm.edu.in or gssbgm.edu.in. Now here, this is the first time that I'm logging in, so only once you will have a welcome to your account, which will give you everything that is connected with the services that Google provides, and you have to click on accept. We are not going to put any recovery phone number or recovery email, but if you wish, you can update it and you can put that in. It would generally protect your account from getting logged in remotely. That is, without your phone number getting an OTP, they won't be able to log in. So if you want to secure your account, then add in a phone number so that you get a one-time password or an OTP that will be required every time you log in. We're taken straight to classroom.google.com. As you can see here, they're asking me which one. Now, if I have multiple accounts, then I can choose from multiple accounts. But here I don't have it, so we're just going to use the same one, and I'm going to click on multiple. Now it's going to ask me to pick a role, pick the role of the teacher, as we are talking about the teacher's point of view. Now what we need to do is we need to add in the first class. So I'm going to create a class and we're going to have class name. So BA third year. This is our class name. Can change this like this. Okay, and this is the art section, and the subject that it's going to be is philosophy, and we can give a room name. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to leave that blank. Now, a room name would be ideal, for instance, if there are multiple staff members taking the multiple staff members taking the same subject. So, if three staff members take physics for PUC 1 or economics for PUC 1, then you can even write, for instance, a standard, maybe in the room name, you can write the division or you can assign the standard classrooms that you all have on your timetable, you can put that there. So it's just to keep track of the different kind of classrooms. So a student knows that he's not supposed to be in classroom, let's say 12, but a classroom 13, something like that. Okay. Now let's look at what we have. Now we have a couple of things. So let's look at what's new in classroom. You get to see student grades. You have to set test drive rubrics, which is a system where we make a schema for how to grade. Now we don't need to get into this right now. We can go into step by step. First, we just familiarize ourselves with what is happening on the screen. So we can customize the stream by going to class settings and classwork on the stream. Now, what is the stream? This is the stream. The student can type anything here. Okay, so now you can post something. You can choose when to share, what time, and what date you want to share. You can attach something to it. So you can add here a link to, let's say, some sort of website that you want them to log into or check for some data. You can add a file from your local device, that is from your computer. You can add a file, or in Google Drive you can attach a file. Now Google Drive plays a very important role for Google for Education because it is unlimited. You can put as many files as you want in Google Drive. There is no limit. Normally we have 15 GB limit. Here there is no limit. So you can freely upload things, and it's very important to realize that in Google Drive you will never lose your data if there's a format. So always remember to keep one copy on your device, one copy in the cloud, that is Google Drive. And if possible, keep another copy somewhere else, because unless you keep it in 3 places, no data is truly secure. You can also add a YouTube link directly, which will be embedded here. And I'm just going to do that. I have a class on my personal account. I'm just going to find the URL for that. So this is my personal account. I'm just going to see what are the videos that I've recently posted, and I have one here, ancient Greek philosophy. I'm just going to find what is the link. So if I share, I have the option to copy this link right here. So we'll close this. I'll come here and I will paste the URL. Right, and right here we have this. So I said add, and now everybody knows that this is what. So I'm going to tell the students here, watch this for the introduction, right? And that's what I'm going to be posting to the students, and I can post it at a particular schedule. That is, I can post it, let's say that they have to start tomorrow, so I keep it ready so that I don't have to post it specifically at that time, but I can post it to say schedule for tomorrow, and tomorrow at 8 a.m. it will go live. I just click on schedule and it will go. For now we're just going to post it. Okay, and here who is this for? It will be all the students because we haven't separated, but in case you are separated, then you'll see a different list of students, so you can make sure that only those specific students will see this particular post. Now this is what is a stream. A stream is the place where you just post things and the students can comment on it, right? And you can respond to that comment. This is a place for this will always be available to the students. When they log in, they'll be able to see this and they'll always be able to check it. Now this is the stream. Here on top you might notice we'll get to this meet in some time, but I just want to finish the basics of the stream page. This is your name of your class, obviously this is which section, and this is a class code. A student cannot enter the class without this particular code, so you need to give the students this code so that they can, so you invite them, and I'll show you how to invite them, but this code is unique and it's a security feature to make sure that if they want to enter your classroom, they need to know that code. So without an invitation, no student can enter your classroom. We look at classwork now, and here is where we can add a particular time, so I can schedule so that the students can find out when is the next class. We can add a class drive folder so I can share all the things that I need. We can also create assignments, quizzes, questions. We can add material and reuse posts. Now we'll go over this one by one later on. This is just an explanation of where everything is. Here we have, you can add teachers or you can add students. So you just click on it and type the student's email ID, and you click on invite. So we will be doing that also later on. And this is the grades. As you post assignments and make a schema and grade the students, their grades will start appearing here. Right here is your settings. Okay. And this is the list of all the Google services that are available to you. And this is your account. So first of all, let's go through this. This is your main account settings. We don't use this much. This is your Gmail. So this is a specific Gmail, not your personal Gmail ID, but what is called an institutional Gmail ID. Now this Gmail ID is the same as I said, pierre.carvalho@rpdbgm.edu.in. Especially when it comes to academia, when you want to log into some database, usually they prefer that you have a educational email ID. So at gmail.com sometimes will not work. You will have to get an edu.in or a .edu account. So it's preferable if you have this, and having this account will help separate the personal from the professional email that you get. We also have other services like Drive, which is very important. Now, Drive is like a folder with all of your files in one place. So this, imagine this to be just like on your computer with all of your files. Now you can add a new folder. Let's say, and call it class 1. And you'll have a folder here. You can double click to open it, go back here, go to the next one, right? You can go back to my drive. You can look at the PDF getting started. It has a Word format, an Excel format, and a PPT format. So you can use Word, Excel, PPT here directly without having to use Word, Excel on your computers in case you don't have that. So if I click on the docx, this is like a Word file. I can just type this is. So it's quite simple. You can change the text. We can say this is the title. We can add new text. We can put headings. All of these things will give us easy ways to write any files that we need to. So if you want to share with the students, once you're done with that, you can share. But we'll be dealing with a Google Drive separately, a tutorial on Google Drive. We can do the same for Google Sheets. Most of the shortcuts that work in Office work on Google Sheets and Google Drive files. So you can use formulas and everything as is. And you also have Google Slides. So this is a presentation, like a PPT presentation. You have your themes here and everything. So it's, if you make it here, it's easy to share, and it's stored in one place. It's stored in the cloud, and it generally will not affect get affected by viruses or anything like that. So generally it's a safer bet to place it in your Google Drive. So this is two services that we've seen. You can directly go through the docs, sheets, or slides. You can go to your calendar, you can go to Google Hangouts chats, and you can even create a Meet. There is also, before we get to Meet, and we will be getting to Meet soon, there is a sites feature that is very good. You can create your own sites by just dragging and dropping different sections, and we'll be doing that in the future, where you can put information in one place if you want. You can give access to the students so that they can upload information as well, or you can just directly. So you can make, you don't require any coding experience to use Google Sites, and this is public for anyone. So you can share it with the rest of the people, especially if you've got some project work that you want to share. Just to showcase the work that your students do. This would be a perfect way to make a site and share it with them. Now, let's go to the settings because we have to make a very important change there. Here you can see Google Meet. Google Meet is basically the service that allows you to make a Zoom call, so to speak. So we have, like we have in Zoom, you have about up to 100 people joining one single conference call, and all of them can interact with each other, and the host has control over how the other persons interact with participants. So the same thing is in Google Meet without any of the security issues and the privacy issues that come with Zoom, which is why it is recommended over Zoom. However, if you are comfortable with Zoom and you don't mind the security issues, uh, there are two issues that are there with Zoom that we can discuss. One is that there is a security issue that if you allow a participant to join a Zoom meeting, they can open up their command prompt and run malicious software on your computer as well. Now, if you know the person, this is more or less resolved, but we cannot take any chances, and so we would highly recommend not using Zoom. There is another issue with Zoom is that everything is routed through China, which means that they are listening to everything that is being spoken on Zoom, and they are collecting a lot of data from there. So something we would not want to have. So that is the privacy issue. So these are the two issues why we would suggest not using Zoom. And to use Meet, it's quite simple, and this is only a one-time thing. You want to say generate Meet link, and it will generate a unique link that only works for you and your students, so visible to students, right? And now that we have done that, we're going to click on save, and we're going to come back to stream, and you will have your Meet here. So if I open this, it will open Meet, and we'll go into Meet. So currently I have disabled a couple of features, so it's telling me that I can't use this. So there is no camera found, and the microphone I'm currently using for recording, so it's not going to allow me. But both of these things would generally be there if you're using a laptop which has a webcam, and if you're not doing any other recording, then this will also not be red color. It would allow you to speak. So now you can send this code to somebody else. Students will also get an option to log in, and this link will remain the same always. So the student can always come back, and anytime you start the classroom, they'll be able to join, and you can present uh, and you can show your screen. So we'll go into that later. So this is how to the basic features of Google Classroom. So here, let's just go over that once again. On the side, here we have our classes, our calendar, our to-dos. This is what we want to do, and our settings. Our settings are also available here. But then we have the stream, which has all of the conversations that you have with your students contextually located with any post that you put, that is a video, image, link, anything. Okay, a student asks a question at that specific place, you will get a notification. You can come here, you can answer the student's query immediately. Then you have Classroom, where you can create a Meet, you can make a Google Calendar event, and you can add some information into the class drive folder. This is shared with all the students. You can also create assignments, quizzes, questions, materials, and reuse posts. You can add people, that is students or teachers, and you can add also parents if you wish, but we are not going to do that for now. So we're just going to keep it simple. This is the grades that will be populated once you start your assignments. You give the students assignments. When you grade the assignments, they will be able to, page will be populated with data that will show your current students' grades. Okay, this is the settings once again. And this is the grade calculation and everything. We'll go through this in detail. So we're going to close this. This is all the other services that are currently provided. You also get a lot of other ones. Jamboard also is a good one if you wish to look into it, and Lucid charts are good for flow charts. So you can, for computer science teachers, Lucid charts would really be useful. Mockups are a good thing for designing any sort of mockup that you want to make, especially for design classes. Forms allow us to create Google Forms that students can answer. This also can be in the form of a quiz. We can put all our store everything in Keep, but these are minor compared to these main ones. Basically, we will be using Gmail and Drive a lot with Google Classroom. And once you're done, you can sign out by clicking on the sign out button. So this is a introduction into how into using Google Classrooms to conduct your classes.